My name is Liam. Growing up, our house on the edge of the Whispering Woods, not quite isolated but certainly not bustling, always felt like it held its breath. Especially after Mum passed. Dad had this one rule, drilled into me since I was old enough to tell time: never stay up past 3, never. I always dismissed it as a classic parental scare tactic to ensure an early bed. Recently, I found myself back in Willow Creek, and with hotel prices being what they were, Dad offered me a room. Over dinner, I brought up his old 3 a.m. warning, expecting a chuckle. Instead, his face went stone serious. "What? Did Grandpa tell you that too?" I asked, trying to lighten the mood. His eyes narrowed. As a matter of fact, Liam, this was his house, and when he passed, it became ours. Then, he recounted Grandpa Thomas's story. He always warned me about 3 a.m. I was a young fool, didn't believe him. Stayed up past it one night, heard the front door creak open, thought it was just Thomas playing a trick to prove his point. I went to bed, chuckling to myself, but when I woke up, Grandpa was different. The kind, jovial man I knew was gone, replaced by the grim, distant figure you remember before he passed. "Wow, Dad," I said, a strange chill running down my spine. "That's quite a tale. A vivid imagination, huh?" "You think this is a joke?" he snapped, his voice sharp. "This is real, Liam. It's dangerous. I'm serious. This isn't some damn bedtime story." Okay, I conceded, a little annoyed. It was getting late. "I'm heading to bed, Dad." "Me too," he replied, but his parting words were laced with an unusual gravity. "Don't stay up, son. I mean it." "Got it, Dad. Good night." Lying in my childhood bed, a knot of unease tightened in my stomach. It's just a stupid story, I told myself. I'm going to prove it. The hours leading up to 3 a.m. were unremarkable. The familiar hum of the old furnace, the gentle rustle of the wind through the pines outside. But as the clock edged towards 2:50 a.m., things began to shift. A whisper. I could have sworn I heard my name, Liam, carried on a breath of icy air. Just my mind playing tricks, I thought, a shiver tracing my spine. Then, clearer this time, Liam. This wasn't the wind. "Who's there?" I called out, my voice a little louder than intended. No reply. The digital clock glowed 2:59 a.m. A genuine tremor of fear ran through me, but I still clung to the notion of absurdity. If only I had known. If only I had just gone to sleep. As the final minute ticked down, my bedroom door, which I definitely closed, slowly, agonizingly swung inward. I sprang up. Classic horror movie cliché, I know, but I had to check. Nothing, but the air around the doorway was unnaturally cold. Then the chime. 3 a.m. Chaos. The wind outside howled, rattling the old window panes. My heart hammered. This was when I made my biggest, most foolish mistake. I left my room. Stepping into the hallway, a jolt, an electric current shot through me. I felt an intense, predatory gaze, and my body screamed, "Alert!" The doorway remained an arctic void. I crept towards Dad's room, pushing the door open slowly, whispering his name. Nothing. Not just no answer, but literally nothing. The room was empty. Dad, who usually left clothes strewn about, had a spotless room. The bed was perfectly made. "What the hell is going on?" I called out, my voice cracking. "This isn't funny anymore, Dad." Then I heard it. "Liam? You're up?" His voice. It was unmistakably Dad's, yet he wasn't there. "What the hell?" I muttered, fear and anger warring within me. A creak. Our old staircase always had a distinct groan when someone descended. I rushed towards it, hoping to see him. Nothing. No one on the stairs. Then his voice again, this time from the basement. "No, no, no," I whispered, praying this was a nightmare. "This isn't happening." "Liam, where are you?" I flung open the basement door and descended. Like Dad's room, the basement was eerily clean. Empty. Not just sparse, but a completely bare concrete box. An intense feeling of dread washed over me. Then I saw it. A door in the far wall. Our basement had never had that door. Perhaps the years of clutter had simply hidden it. Summoning every ounce of courage, I opened it. And there he was, Grandpa Thomas. He was duct-taped, his mouth and wrists bound. I tore the tape from his arms and mouth. "Liam," he rasped, his voice still holding that familiar cold edge. But his eyes, for the first time in years, held a flicker of warmth, of relief. "Thank God you found me." I knew what I was thinking. Clone, imposter, skinwalker. But something deep inside, a gut feeling, told me this was my real grandpa. We stumbled up the stairs, out of the basement. "Grandpa, what the hell is going on?" "There's no easy way to say this, kiddo," he said, his gaze distant. "We're not in our own dimension anymore." "What the hell does that mean?" "This has to be a dream." I pulled at my hair. "I wish it was," he sighed. "Where's Dad?" I kept hearing his voice, practically next to me, but I couldn't see him. "Liam, that was your dad. But he's in the real dimension." "Again with the dimension thing, Grandpa. What are you talking about?" He sighed again. "Kid, this is an alternate, empty dimension. A void." "Void." "Purgatory," he said, his voice barely a whisper. "The real purgatory." "This can't be real." "It is, kiddo," he said. "And there's no way out. You've already been replaced, just like I was." "Wait, what? Replaced?" A cold dread seeped into my bones. "Remember how you and your dad always talked about me becoming serious and cold?" he asked. "That wasn't me. It was my replacement." "The hell?" "How did we get here?" I asked, my voice trembling. "Well, son, the house is ancient. We got it cheap, too cheap. We should have known. At 3 a.m. every night, in that house, every door becomes a gateway to purgatory. It tries to lure you in. I was just dumb enough to listen. When I went in, I found your dad." "Wait, then where's Dad?" "He's back in the real world," Grandpa said, his eyes clouded with a mix of relief and sorrow. "How the hell did he get back?" "I don't know. I never found out his way out." "So what do we do?" I asked, my voice desperate. "I don't know, kid, but we might be stuck. I'm in my alternate bedroom now, and I think I figured out why we can't escape. Time works differently here. Every minute in the real world is about a day here, meaning it's going to be a very long time until the doors open again. Grandpa agrees with my theory. We don't have any food, and he says if we want to eat, we'll have to go out and look." I peeked out the window. It's a dark, gray, empty world. I wonder if there are others out there like us. Why didn't Dad tell me about this if he's been through it? And why didn't he tell Grandpa how to get out? I'm writing this in this messed up place now, with little hope that it will ever leave purgatory and reach the real world. But if it does, is there any other way to escape? Please help. My name is Clara. My grandmother, a woman of quiet superstitions, always warned me about the old rocking chair in the attic. "Never sit in it after the last bell tolls at midnight, child," she'd say, her eyes wide with a fear I never understood. "And never, ever sing the lullaby." The lullaby was a simple, repetitive tune, a nursery rhyme about a lost child and a whispering wind. I always thought it was just a way to keep me out of the dusty, cobweb-filled attic. Years later, after Grandma passed, I inherited the house, a sprawling, Victorian relic on the edge of the old cemetery. One stormy night, unable to sleep, a morbid curiosity tugged at me. The clock on the mantelpiece chimed 12 times. Midnight. I found myself drawn to the attic, to the rocking chair. It sat there, silhouetted by the moonlight filtering through the dusty window, inviting. I sat. The old wood groaned under my weight. The storm outside intensified, mirroring the growing unease within me. Then, without thinking, the lullaby Grandma had forbidden slipped from my lips. Little one, where do you roam? The whispering wind will guide you home. As the words left me, the air grew heavy, thick with an unseen presence. The rocking chair began to sway rhythmically, not by my own movement, but as if an invisible hand pushed it. The lullaby, now an echo in the room, seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere. The storm outside faded, replaced by an unnatural silence. The moonlight through the window turned a sickly green. I tried to stand, but I was rooted to the chair. The room, once familiar, began to distort. The walls stretched, the ceiling receded into an endless darkness. The antique toys in the corner seemed to twist into grotesque shapes. The lullaby continued, no longer sung by me, but by countless tiny voices, all whispering my name. Clara, Clara, the wind will guide you home. Panic seized me. I screamed, but no sound escaped my lips. My own voice was gone, replaced by the chorus of whispers. I looked down at my hands, and they seemed translucent, shimmering at the edges. I was still in the chair, still in the attic, but it wasn't my attic. It was a distorted reflection, a place where the lullaby was a perpetual echo, and the only company was the unseen. I tried to remember Grandma's words, her warnings. Had she been here? Was she one of the whispers? I felt a cold, empty space where my memories should have been. A sense of having been here before, trapped in this echoing void, singing this endless song. I am the lullaby now, a part of its eternal chorus, waiting for another curious soul to sit in the chair and join the song. The storm outside never truly ended. It just moved inside. A silent, green-tinged tempest of whispers. I can still see my house, but it's a distant, unreachable beacon, a memory of a world I might never return to. I am the lost child, guided by the whispering wind, forever. My name is Samuel. I'd just moved into a quaint, slightly dilapidated cottage in the remote village of Blackwood Hollow. The previous owner, an eccentric old woman, had left behind most of her belongings, including an enormous, ornate mirror in the master bedroom. It was beautiful, but unsettling, with a frame carved into twisting skeletal branches. The villagers, with their hushed tones and averted gazes, hinted at its dark history. Never look into it when the moon is full and the clock strikes 13, one old man mumbled, eyes wide with a strange fear. It shows you what isn't there. Of course, I scoffed. Superstition, the clock striking 13, absurd. One night, a month after moving in, the moon hung like a luminous pearl in the sky, casting an eerie glow over the cottage. I was reading, lost in a book, when the old grandfather clock in the hall, usually silent, began to chime. 1, 2, up to 12, and then a 13th deep, resonant bong that vibrated through the floorboards. A chill ran down my spine. I glanced at the mirror. The full moon was perfectly reflected within its depths, bathing the room in silver light. And in that reflection, something was different. My room was subtly altered. The curtains were torn, the furniture askew, covered in a fine layer of dust that wasn't there a moment ago. My book lay open on the nightstand, but the pages were blank. And my reflection, it wasn't quite me. My eyes were darker, hollow, and a faint, almost imperceptible smile played on its lips. I reached out to touch the mirror, but my hand passed through the glass. It wasn't a reflection, it was a window. A window into my room, but not my reality. I pulled my hand back, startled. The room I stood in was normal, well lit, my book still open with its printed version. But the mirror showed the desolate, twisted version. Then the reflection moved independently. My mirrored self turned its head, slowly, deliberately, and stared directly at me, its hollow eyes boring into mine. The faint smile widened, revealing teeth that seemed too sharp, too numerous. A whisper, dry as rustling leaves, emanated from the mirror. You are here. You are here. You are here. Panic set in. I stumbled back, knocking over a lamp. The crash echoed loudly in my real room, but in the mirror, the lamp remained upright, unbroken. The reflection simply watched, its smile growing. I ran to the door, fumbling with the handle. It wouldn't open. I tried the windows, but they were sealed shut, the glass opaque. I was trapped in my own room, yet the mirror showed a different, decaying version of it. And a version of me that was... Wait. I looked back at the mirror. My reflection was now standing, its hand reaching out towards the glass, towards me. Its fingers, long and skeletal, pressed against the surface. I could feel a cold pressure on my side of the glass, as if it was pushing through. The clock in the hall began to chime again, a rapid, frantic rhythm, each bong echoing with a distorted metallic clang. And with each chime, the real room around me began to decay, mirroring the reflection. The curtains frayed, the wood warped. Dust motes danced in the air. My book on the nightstand turned to ash. I am still here in this room, now indistinguishable from the reflection. The mirror is gone, or perhaps I am now in the mirror. The hollow-eyed version of me stands beside me, a silent companion, its smile fixed. The clock still chimes, an endless, maddening rhythm. I see glimpses of the real world outside, through windows that are no longer windows, but shimmering, distorted portals. I see people living their lives unaware, and sometimes I see a new reflection in a distant window. A curious face, peering into a room that is slowly decaying. A room that looks just like mine. I wonder if they hear the clock striking 13. I wonder if they see what isn't there. And I wonder if they will join me soon. My name is Elias. I'd always been fascinated by the old abandoned asylum just outside of town. Locals whispered stories of patients who vanished, of unseen hands and echoing screams. I, being the rationalist, dismissed them as local folklore. One particularly dreary autumn evening, armed with a flashlight and a healthy dose of skepticism, I decided to explore. The main entrance was boarded up, but a broken window on the side offered an easy entry. Inside, dust motes danced in the beam of my flashlight, illuminating peeling paint and decaying furniture. The air was heavy, stale, and unnervingly cold. I found myself in a long, winding corridor, lined with identical doors. Each door had a small, grimy window and a faded number. I walked, my footsteps echoing unnaturally loud in the silence. I tried a door. Locked. Another. Locked. Every single door was locked. The corridor seemed to stretch on endlessly, turning corners I didn't remember taking, leading me deeper into the asylum's decaying heart. The numbers on the doors began to repeat, then skip, then appear in impossible sequences. 101, 102, 103, then suddenly 57-9, 2004. A faint, rhythmic scratching sound began to emanate from behind one of the doors. It was a soft, insistent scrape, like fingernails dragging across concrete. I stopped, my heart pounding. "Hello!" I called out, my voice swallowed by the vast silence. The scratching stopped. I took a few steps forward. It started again, this time from a different door, further down the corridor. I shone my light at the door. The window was too dirty to see through. I pressed my ear against the cold wood. Nothing. Then, a whisper, right next to my ear, so close I felt a cold breath on my neck. "Don't stop walking." I jumped back, spinning around, my flashlight beam cutting through the darkness. Nothing. Just the endless corridor. The scratching resumed, now from multiple doors, a cacophony of quiet scrapes that seemed to follow me. I started to run. The corridor stretched out, an impossible length, the doors blurring into a continuous wall. The scratching grew louder, more frantic, accompanied by faint, guttural murmurs. I could feel eyes on me, hundreds of them, peering from behind the grimy windows of the doors. I ran until my lungs burned, until my legs ached. I collapsed against a wall, gasping for breath. The scratching stopped. The murmurs faded. Silence. I looked around. I was in a section of the corridor I hadn't seen before. The walls were no longer peeling paint, but raw, crumbling brick. The doors were gone, replaced by smooth, featureless sections of wall. And at the end of the corridor, a single, glowing light. Hope surged through me. An exit. I stumbled towards it, my exhaustion forgotten. As I got closer, the light resolved into a single, perfectly clean wooden door. No number, no window, just a pristine, inviting door. I reached for the handle. It turned smoothly. I pulled it open. Beyond was not the outside world, not freedom. It was another corridor, identical to the one I had just left, but even longer, even darker. And from behind every single door in this new, endless corridor, I could hear it. The scratching, and then a chorus of whispers, clearer now, echoing down the infinite hall. Welcome home, Elias. Don't stop walking. I am still walking. I have been walking for what feels like centuries. The doors are always locked. The scratching never stops. I sometimes see faint, translucent figures in the grimy windows, their faces contorted in silent screams. They are the ones who stopped walking. I can't stop. I won't stop, because I know what happens if I do. I become one of them. Another silent scream, another pair of eyes watching for the next curious soul to enter the endless corridor. And sometimes I hear a new set of footsteps, hesitant, uncertain, echoing behind me.